The advent of the Space Force doesn't mean that all of the military's space operations will move. Some missile defense operations and other operations that live in the Army will stay there. Lieutenant General Daniel Karbler is Commanding General of the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command. General, welcome. Thanks for coming on the program. What is the mission of your command, sir?
Good morning, Francis. Thanks very much for having me on today. So Space and Missile Defense Command, we're a unique organization within the United States Army. As you said, we have responsibility for providing space and missile defense forces to the Army as well as to the combatant commands. We have forces in 11 different time zones, 23 locations. We're a global force. I've got 3 operational brigades that we're responsible for. We have the 100th Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense Brigade, which is the brigade that's responsible for our homeland missile defense. I have 1st Space Brigade, which provides space capabilities to our combatant command, specifically to newly established Space Command. And I also have a Satellite Operations Brigade, which provides satellite operations and communication support, again, to Space Command. Also within Space and Missile Defense Command, I have responsibility to do the organize, train, and equip missions for the Army. So I have a technical center, which does cutting-edge research and development on things such as directed energy, lasers, hypersonics, and I have a center of excellence, which helps us determine the requirements and future warfighting capabilities for missile defense and for space, again, that we will provide to the Army as well as to the geographic combatant commanders that are out there.
I note a number of times, General Karbler, in the materials about your command, the reference to space, missile defense, and high altitude capabilities. I think a lot of people understand what space and missile defense capabilities are. Tell me more about what high altitude capabilities are, sir.
Sure, great question. High altitude capabilities, so if you think about balloons, station keeping of blimps, those high altitude capabilities that don't necessarily get into space, but are of such an altitude that they're able to provide us with surveillance capabilities, communications relays capabilities, other things that help us not be so dependent on space, but are a little bit more tactically responsive to the ground maneuver warfighters.
Your command incorporates active duty, reserve components, National Guard components. Tell me how you mix those together. That's been an issue that, throughout the history of all 3 of those forces, to try to mix them together in a fluid way, sir.
Yeah, I have some great commanders out there that just do a great job of seamlessly integrating our multi-component aspect of the command. So first, within the 100th GMD, again, the soldiers who protect the homeland from any kind of missile attack, those are comprised of soldiers from the Colorado National Guard, the Alaska National Guard, and the California National Guard. And they're able to provide protection for North America 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. They never miss a beat. Also within 1st Space Brigade, I've got the 2nd Space Battalion, which is an Army Reserve unit, and I've got the 117th Space Support Battalion, which is a Colorado National Guard unit. And again, I have just great brigade commanders who, it doesn't really matter if you're a reservist, active component, or National Guard, they make sure that they meet the mission 24/7 and do a great job doing it.
Among the elements of your commander's intent, you wrote, I will say it as plainly as possible, it's my intent that we win. What does winning look like in the context of your mission, General?
Yes, you've heard the Chief of Staff of the Army, General McConville, talk about winning matters. And when we come to the space mission, what I like to tell my team is that winning matters. Winning first in space really matters. We see our adversaries out there, they're contesting us in space. With the stand-up of Space Command and me as the Army Service Component supporting Space Command, we know that our warfighting readiness is key to winning and making sure that we stay ahead of our adversaries.
What do you need from the soldiers that you have under your command now, or for the soldiers that you want to bring into your command in order to be able to do that? What are the things that you'll need those soldiers to be able to do in 2022 and 2025 to be able to continue that idea of winning, General?
Yeah, one of the great aspects that we have within Space Command and within our space mission is we have officers that come in. They're called Functional Area 40s or FA 40s, and those officers, they're commissioned when they come into the Army. They might be commissioned as infantry or in the armor or aviation or field artillery or signal, you name it, any one of a number of the Army branches. They get commissioned. They'll do first couple of assignments in that particular branch. And then they will come over into their FA-40, into their space professional job, but they'll bring with them that experience they have of serving in that particular branch in the Army. They might have a couple of deployments under their belt, and then they bring that operational experience with them into space. And what I really enjoy with our FA-40s and what we see from captain up to the highest ranks is our space professionals in the Army are natural integrators. They're able to bring the different effects, commander's intent, bring it all in one package to be able to provide that commander with the requisite capabilities that he or she needs to win on the battlefield.
General Karbler, you mentioned the stand-up of Space Command, and that's where I want to pick up the conversation. When we come back, part 2 of my conversation with Lieutenant General Daniel Karbler when Government Matters continues. Welcome back. The United States Space Force is moving personnel into its billets all across the force. Lieutenant General Daniel Karbler is Commanding General of U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command. General Karbler, thanks for continuing our conversation. You mentioned in the first part of our conversation that stand-up. What does that mean for your command? Is it changing the mission now that we have, again, a U.S. Space Command transitioning into a Space Force?
Sure. So what we saw a couple of weeks ago, we formalized Space and Missile Defense Command being the Army Service Component Command to United States Space Command. We had always been supporting Space Command in that role, but with the stand-up of Space Command, it allowed us to formalize our relationship, our command relationship with that command. What it means to us is we really will just continue as we have been doing in our support. We support them in different exercises that we conduct throughout the year, but also I provide operational forces to a U.S. Space Command. So I provide them with the Satellite Operations Brigade, as well as forces from 1st Space Brigade. And you know, even before the formal stand-up of Space Command, when we had these capabilities resident under Strategic Command, we were providing these capabilities, these Army space capabilities to that command. One of the unique pieces of this is now we have Army 4-star General Jim Dickinson, one of my predecessor here at Space and Missile Defense Command, when he took over Space Command a couple of weeks ago. In his change of command speech, pretty important words that he talked about establishing the warfighting culture within Space Command. And to an Army soldier, those words ring real true to our heart in terms of being able to provide warfighting capability and warfighting readiness to Space Command, again, through our Satellite Operations Brigade, as well as our 1st Space Brigade capabilities.
Is the parallel here, General, that there are, for example, aviation capabilities in all the other branches, but the Air Force is an aviator, a force of aviators? Is that the same idea that we should look for moving forward when it comes to space? So yes, space expertise is absolutely critical. And again, as I explained a little bit earlier, those FA-40s with that operational experience that they bring to the Army, as well as in their space expertise, being able to meet General Dickinson's intent to establish a warfighting culture. And I think the Army leads the way in that. But there's also other capabilities that are important to provide to U.S. Space Command, communications capabilities, and especially intelligence capabilities. Making sure that we're taking a look at the space aspect of that, but knowing that it's not always just space, but we have other capabilities within the Army that we can provide to Space Command. Like I said, intel and communications are 2 of them that come to mind. Number of guests on the program over the last several months, and maybe it's even a year and a half now, General, have talked about the importance of joint all-domain command and control and the role that that will play in fighting wars in the future. What's your piece of that, General?
Yeah, Space and Missile Defense Command really, I talk about we're at the integration nexus for 3 critical strategic missions. So I'm responsible to U.S. Strategic Command, I'm responsible to U.S. Space Command, and I'm also responsible for supporting Northern Command. Strategic Command for strategic deterrence, Space Command for those space missions that we just talked about, and then Northern Command for the Homeland Missile Defense mission. SMDC stands at that integration nexus. I tell our team that we're really occupying key terrain there. So the integration, the piece of integration to that is from the planning, the command and control, and execution, our staff brings a great level of expertise that we can provide to those 3 different combatant commanders.
We just have a couple of minutes left, General. How has COVID affected the readiness of your force? What have you seen impact-wise across the men and women that you command, sir?
I could not be prouder of the soldiers who have this 24/7 mission, global capabilities that we provide. I tell our soldiers that we are the first line of defense and we are the last line of defense. So I have soldiers that do early warning against missile attacks. They have to be ready 24/7. I have soldiers that are responsible to make sure that we provide satellite communications 24/7. And then we have the 100th GMD soldiers in Colorado, Alaska, and California who've got to be ready 24/7 to counter any adversary intercontinental ballistic missile attacks into North America. During COVID, these soldiers, these leaders took the utmost measures to make sure that readiness stayed at the forefront. These are very, very small crews. They're globally dispersed, but yet they maintained their health, they maintained their safety so that they can maintain their missions. As we say, we have to protect ourselves so that we can then protect the nation. And the American public should be very proud of the job that the soldiers of Space and Missile Defense Command have done to ensure just that.
General Karbler, thanks very much for your time today. It's great to talk to you, sir.
Thanks, Francis. Have a great day.